Hello and welcome back to the Carl Jackson Show. Guys, I'm going to get into the Trump assassination attempt. I want to talk about that. First, let me just wrap up a couple of more points in regards to this favorability rating when it comes to the GOP. More voters, again, are preferring the Republican Party over the Democrat Party in this election cycle. Does not bode well for Kamala Harris. So, again, the party favorable ratings are neck and neck. That's about the only place where the GOP and Republicans are tied. On every other issue, voters, at least right now, according to this Gallup poll, are preferring Donald Trump, are preferring the Republican Party. Preference for government activity. Americans generally express, according to Gallup, a preference for a limited government role. The traditional Republican position when they are asked whether the government is doing too many things that should be left to individuals and businesses. 55% said the government that they'd like to do more to solve the country's problems, as opposed to 41%. All right, so that bodes well for the Republican Party. And again, congressional job approval, frankly, I don't think that's a major indicator. I guess Republicans are they're somewhat average. I think they have an approval rating of 20%. Now you're like, Carl, that's disastrous. Here's the bottom line when it comes to their approval rating with Congress. Everyone says, I hate their congressman, and then they vote for him. And quite frankly, going all the way back to at least 2008, those numbers have ranged from 18 to 21%. So the current level of congressional approval is pretty similar to what it has been in every congressional cycle. So that tells me that the House is probably a toss up. All right. But still, Republicans are in that window, 18 to 21%. So it's anybody's race at this time. But Republicans, again, controlling all these other issues gives them an advantage. Dividing government preference. Americans typically have not held a clear preference as to whether or not the government should be divided or unified. There's 41% this year say having the same party control Congress and the presidency ties with 2020 as the highest in Gallup's trend. 30% say it makes no difference whether the government is united or divided. 23% say having a different party's control of Congress and the president is preferable. Bottom line, this race is Trump's to lose. If he remains focused on the economy, if he remains focused on the immigration issue, government largesse, and inflation, what people are actually feeling at the store, what people are witnessing when it comes to illegal immigrants getting preference over when it comes to housing, when it comes to jobs over American citizens, I believe that Donald Trump is going to do well, and I suspect he's going to do better than the polling indicates. Now, speaking of Donald Trump, let's talk about something else. Let's talk about the assassination attempt. Iran comes out, the breaking news today. Iran has been threatening Donald Trump. Apparently, there were some credible, some credible threats from Iran where they were wanting to take Donald Trump's life. I'm going to play a couple videos for you, and then I'm going to give you my take, which I think is going to be a little bit different from that. But first off, I want to tell you what led to this. If it is true that Iran is threatening our president of the United States or former president of the United States, and it may be true. I know you sense the skepticism in my voice, and it's not that I'm skeptical, so maybe that's the wrong word to use. But I'll tell you what I'm thinking in just a minute. But first, let's do this. Let's go to Joe Biden. Joe Biden was at the UN earlier this week, and he bragged about his Afghanistan withdrawal. You know, the Afghanistan withdrawal that Putin looked at and said, wow, now's the time for me to invade Ukraine, because if he just let Afghanistan fall to the Taliban, surely he's not going to do anything when I invade Ukraine. And then you also saw Xi Jinping has been strategically making moves to try to take Taiwan, all because of the Afghanistan withdrawal, or I would say the retreat and surrender, where 13 servicemen and women were killed. But Joe Biden thinks he did a good job. Let's roll video clip number 10, por favor, Gabe.
When I came to office as president, Afghanistan had replaced Vietnam as America's longest war. I was determined to end it, and I did. It was a hard decision, but the right decision. 4 American presidents had faced that decision, but I was determined not to leave it to the 5th. was a decision accompanied by tragedy. 13 brave Americans lost their lives, along with hundreds of Afghans, in a suicide bomb. I think those lost lives, I think of them every.
Yeah, so I know it's very hard to understand gibberish and slobbing when a person is talking, but that is Joe Biden basically bragging about the Afghanistan retreat and surrender under the Biden-Harris administration that led to a bunch of foreign dictators saying now is the time to take advantage of the United States because they're completely weak. I want to play another video clip for you, and I am building to something. I'm building to these threats from Iran attempting to assassinate Donald Trump. I want to talk about that, but again, in a different light. I want to go to video clip number 1. This is Senator Josh Hawley. If I recall this one correctly, Gabe, this is Senator Josh Hawley on Jesse Waters' program talking about the Secret Service protection that Donald Trump is getting, which is not similar to Kamala Harris, which he should be getting at least the same level as Kamala Harris, given the fact that there's been 2 attempts on his life that we know of. Video clip number 1, por favor, Gabe.
Yes, in fact, we have a new whistleblower report tonight, Jesse. Whistleblower with direct knowledge of the Trump campaign and the Secret Service and their interactions tell us that the Secret Service recently told the Trump campaign they could not secure a rally for Donald Trump in the state of Wisconsin. Now, this is interesting because it directly contradicts what the Secret Service Director, Rowe, said last week when he said, Trump is getting exactly the same level of protection as Kamala Harris and the sitting president. Really, because Kamala Harris just held a rally in Madison, Wisconsin, and I am told by a whistleblower with direct knowledge of the situation that Secret Service says that Trump should not and could not have a rally in Wisconsin because Secret Service could not protect him and adequately staff it. This calls into question, Jesse, what they're saying about staffing. It calls into question what they're saying about parity between Harris and Trump. And once again, it underscores the fact they're not telling us the whole truth.
Yeah, okay, so that is Josh Hawley, Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri, telling us that Donald Trump is, again, vulnerable to an assassination attempt. And you had Joe Biden bragging about the Afghanistan withdrawal. I want to go to yet another video clip. This is video clip number 9. This is Trump threatening to hit Iran hard, if in fact Iran attempts to kill him, and just showing another level of strength that we're so accustomed to Donald Trump showing us. Let's go ahead and roll that, por favor. This is video clip number 9, Gabe.
This case, Iran, that if you do anything to harm this person, we are going to blow your largest cities and the country itself to smithereens. We're going to blow it to smithereens. You can't do that. And there would be no more threats. There would be no more threats. But right now we don't have that leadership or the necessary people, the necessary leaders. We have 2 people, not one. We don't even know who our president is right now. Who is our president right now? We really don't know, but we have 2 people, not one, that only keep looking. And when you do that, when you just look, trouble always ensues. So it's big trouble for our country. Meanwhile, we have the president of Iran in our country this week. We have large security forces guarding him, and yet they're threatening our former president and the leading candidate to become the next president of the United States. Certainly a strange set of circumstances around.
Okay, so that is President Trump threatening. Listen, if he were in office and that threat was being made against another former president, he wouldn't have it. He would take the persons that made those threats out. So there we saw that Trump is vulnerable when it comes to Secret Service protection, and we learn more and more about the first assassination attempt. Where literally, the building that the attempted murderer was on was not even covered by the Secret Service. Nobody was paying attention to it. We're learning about that. And then Biden showed weakness. That's what set it off. The world saw weakness from Biden. The world now knows that Trump is vulnerable. And then you have Iran credible threats, apparently, when it comes to Iran threatening to assassinate Donald Trump. Now, again, in any other case, if we had a strong leader, Iran would not be emboldened to threaten the president of the United States of America. But because the Biden-Harris administration has emboldened them and, in fact, funded them, we've seen Hezbollah attack Israel. We've seen Hamas attack Israel on that horrible October 7th day. This is we're watching weakness and strength. But let me say this real quickly about Iran. Iran believes that we're the great Satan and Israel is the little Satan. I got to admit to you that I'm a little skeptical that there's all of a sudden some major threat from Iran as wanting to assassinate our leaders when they believe that we're the big Satan and Israel is the little Satan. Something's fishy to me. Something's fishy to me. This is the Carl Jackson Show. We'll be back. Hey, Carl Jackson here. You've asked, and My Pillow has listened. They're finally bringing you the most requested offer ever. Right now, you can get the queen size premium My Pillow for just $19.98. My Pillow is made with a patented adjustable feel. It adjusts to your exact individual needs, regardless of your sleep position. It helps to keep your neck aligned, and it holds its shape all night long, so you get the best sleep of your life. But that's not all. You can get their 6-piece kitchen or bath towel sets for just $25. The brand new mattress topper for as low as $69.98, and their famous MyPillow bed sheets for as low as $25, and so much more. Go to mypillow.com or give them a call at 800-858-0263. Use the promo code Carl, that's CARL, I don't spell it like the communists, to get huge discounts on all MyPillow products, including the premium queen size MyPillow for just $19.98. That's the lowest price ever. Don't delay. Order today. Use promo code Carl at checkout. Do you guys remember this thing called the First Amendment? It's been under attack lately from the left, and I want to bring you a couple of examples, maybe some videos that you've seen or that you've watched this week or that you've read about. And I'm going to replay some of those videos for you, including one from AOC, an earlier video that occurred a couple of weeks ago, but I think it's very important to bring up again. And that is from Bill Gates, basically one of the control oligarchs, or one of the, as Seamus Bruner would call him, or one of the gatekeepers when it comes to free speech. And also a discovery that happened this week, more on the J6. Just some fishy business when it comes to J6 and censorship. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to roll some video for you. But first, let me just read the First Amendment to you. And guys, let me tell you something. If you believe that your rights, come from government, then this country is over. All right. We are endowed with certain inalienable rights. All right. You have to remember that our rights come from God. They do not come from government. This is the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. All right. Now, here's what scares the left about the First Amendment. The left wants to be able to control you. I mean, it's as simple as that. I don't know why they're fascinated or why they're so hungry for control, except that they're void of God in their life. They're void of Jesus Christ in their life. They're bored. They have nothing else to do. So they feel purpose when it comes to controlling other people. It's really sick. It's really evil. It's really twisted. But this is where we are. All right. So you have some gatekeepers that want to shut down your thinking, that wants to shut down your thoughts, that wants to shut down your words. And here's what the left believes. If the left can force you to shut up, then they can start controlling what you think. And quite frankly, guys, if I'm being completely frank with you, this election cycle isn't just the global elites, right, against the American citizen. It's also a battle between patriots that are going to go to the ballot box in November and against the useful idiots. All right. And much of this has to do with people that don't understand the power that they're supposed to have as an American citizen. All right, so let's play let's play some videos for you. But again, if the left can control what you say, then again, they can shape how you think. And then eventually they can teach you how to behave, or they can demand that you behave a certain way. We've seen this. We've seen this with COVID lockdowns. We've seen this with big tech tyranny. Now we're seeing it rear its ugly head again. I want to remind you of something that Bill Gates said just a couple of weeks ago. This is video clip number 5. This is Bill Gates on the issue, this notion of the First Amendment of free speech. Video clip 5, por favor, Gabe.
Every country struggling to find that boundary. The U.S. is a tough one because, you know, we have the notion of the First Amendment. And so what are the exceptions, you know, like yelling fire in a theater, you know, and because you're anonymous online, you know, it can be worse. I do think over time, you know, with things like deep fakes, most of the time you're online, you're going to want to be in an environment where the people are truly identified. That is, they're connected to a real world identity that you trust instead of just people saying whatever they want. And so the idea of provenance, who sent me this email, was that really them? You know, we're going to have systems and behaviors that we're more aware of. Okay, who says that? Who created this?
This guy is evil. I really don't know what else to say. This guy's evil. Did any of you elect him? This notion of the First Amendment, right? It's a little harder to get control of Americans as opposed to the Africans that I'd like to vaccinate, you know, for experiment purposes. The Gates Foundation. Who elected this guy? Nobody elected this guy. But these elites, they fear the First Amendment, and they fear, obviously, the Second Amendment. It's another reason that the left wants to be able to take away our firearms. These people are absolutely terrifying, and these people are absolutely dangerous. And listen, I don't use that word flippantly, but if you're an American that doesn't believe in the First Amendment and you believe that you have the right to shut down someone else's speech, I'm sorry, you're anti-American. It's really that simple. Let's go on to AOC. This is AOC. So there you have essentially an elitist that's telling you that the First Amendment is just a notion. Let's go on to AOC. This is clip number 4. This is a politician who used to be a bartender who apparently now is worth tons of money after she got to Congress. Go figure. Video clip number 4, por favor. This is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, otherwise known as AOC. Let's run it.
You know, I do think that several members of Congress in some of my discussions have brought up media literacy because that is a part of what happened here. And we're going to have to figure out how we rein in our media environment so that you can't just spew disinformation and misinformation. It's one thing to have differing opinions, but it's another thing entirely to just say things that are false. And so that's something that we're looking into.
Remember when AOC said that Trump was putting kids in cages at the border? She never mentioned that Barack Obama was doing it, and actually Trump stopped his policy of doing it. Frankly, I have no problem with kids being separated from adults at the border since they're breaking into our country and invading our country. And since our customs and border patrol have to figure out if these are parents or smugglers or sex traffickers trying to bring kids in to use them, or just trying to use kids to get into the country. That's the only reason why adults are separated from children until they can figure that out. But remember when AOC was lying about it and she did this video like she was crying and weeping and the place was totally empty? So I wonder who's going to check her when it comes to disinformation. Now, I want to take you to another video. This is Representative Thomas Massie. This occurred earlier this week. A lot of people think this is a non-issue for the election, but I think this is a major issue. This is Thomas Massie questioning the FBI and wondering where the heck basically is some evidence regarding J6. He confirms that the FBI does not have any footage that was captured by the DNC security cameras for January 6th. And this is a new scandal. Julie Kelly posted this and talked about it on her X account But this is absolutely insane. Where's that pipe bomber? Apparently, the FBI deleted video of this pipe bomber. Let's go ahead and roll that video clip number 3. Por favor, Gabe.
We've got a FBI's failed investigation of the January 6th pipe bomb. Are you looking into that at all?
We've had discussion, I know, Congressman, about it, and we have followed up, and I can speak to you about that.
I mean, they keep saying it's an ongoing investigation, but they've got no leads, no suspects. They've lost information. They've lost evidence. They can't find evidence. Secret Service deleted all of its texts on January 6th. Steve D'Antuono, the guy in charge of Washington, D.C. field office, says that the cell phone data that could have been used to find the bomber was corrupted. And now we just found out, I found out from another inspector general, and I want to submit this for the record.
Objection.
Yeah. I asked him, do you have the footage, the video footage? Does the FBI have the video footage of the DNC on January 6th? And he tells me when he asked the FBI for the video footage, they don't even have video footage of the DNC that we know was created on January 6th. It's almost, it's almost as if they don't want to know. Can you rule out that there were any confidential human sources involved in the whole pipe bomb thing on January 6th?
I'm not, I'd have to go back, Congressman, and refresh myself on what information we've gathered to date on that. I don't know as I sit here.
Okay, that would be a huge revelation.
But I'm happy to come.
I think we should get that and get it public before the election. I yield back.
They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. These people are, this is election interference. This is censorship. This is trying to stop people's ability to be able and peaceably assemble. The vast majority of people on January 6th were peaceably assembling. Remember, Trump gave them that order to peaceably assemble. There's more information now, a document that's been leaked with Trump giving Capitol Police or whatever, or Nancy Pelosi that was in charge. Listen, bring the National Guard in. I want to make sure this place is safe. I want to make sure this place is secure. But what the FBI wants to do is they want to silence you. They're part of the deep state, so many of them. And I'm not sure if it's people talk about the leaders, but listen, some of the laymen, it's time for them to speak up. We have some whistleblowers, and that's been absolutely great. But the bottom line is these people are trying to silence you. And then we have some election interference with Zelensky coming out earlier this week of Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine, basically endorsing Kamala Harris. That guy has no business, regardless of how you feel about the Russia-Ukraine war, that guy has no business endorsing a presidential candidate. We are living in dangerous times. The left wants to keep you silent so that you don't speak out. The best thing that you can do is embrace the First Amendment and continue to practice it. Guys, until next time, do not grow weary doing good. Thank you for tuning in to The Carl Jackson Show.